as I mentioned, advisor to the Alliance for Change on Indigenous issues. And now, David Patterson, Member of Parliament.
Good night, everyone.
Good night.
Glad to see all of you.
Good night.
And I know it's a pretty rough time in Florida, but I'm glad that you took the time out to come and hear a few words from us. I set my time up. Well, this is about like the fourth or the fifth time I'm up in New York, and every time they've been saying to me, keep it tight. So I'll be as tight as possible and try and go through this as quick as possible. We're here, the Alliance for Change. I hope you all know the Alliance for Change. For you who don't, we're a political party in Guyana, established in 2005, contested the election in 2006, won 6 seats. One was stolen, but that's a long story we can discuss later. Went back into elections as a single party in 2011. We attained 7 seats. Our parliament is 65-seat parliament, and with the 7 seats we got in 2011, there was a hung parliament, meaning that the government was a minority government. And I will first admit, we were all newbies. I mean, like 2005 is the first time I've actually even did any public speaking when it first started. So we now real newbies. First time we entered into Parliament at 2011. Did not make the best use of our time in Home Parliament 2011 to 2015. So we decided we would go into a coalition. We went into a coalition with another group, and we won the elections. We actually did win the elections. Once again, I would admit that we didn't make the best use of our time there. It was cut short, but as I said, our experience gains wisdom. So we're here again for another meet and greet tour. We've been, as Katia said, New York, Washington, and we're now here. And I just want to quickly tell you what we're up against. We, based on that backdrop, the current government, the PPP, I call it PPP, they have lost the last two. They've lost 2 of the last 3 elections. They lost the popular vote in 2011, and they lost the popular vote in 2015. They, of course, won in 2020. The numbers, ladies and gentlemen, are not great. In 2020, the last elections, the combined opposition gained 227, almost 228,000 votes. The current government gained 233,000 votes. So the difference between winning and losing, the difference between me being standing here as an opposition member of parliament and a minister, is 6,000 votes. And I'm sure all of you from in the diaspora knows family and friends who did not partake in 2020 for various reasons. So we're here to say not voting is not an option. We're here to say, to ask you to help us to contact the folks in Guyana to vote. We're here to say to you, if your name's on the list, we explain to you that the list is ever expanding. Take a trip down. If you plan to do for a holiday, take a trip down to the next election and spend the day with us, vote for us. That will whittle down that 6,301. That's the actual numbers of votes separating you, one party from another. And the reality is that the politics in Guyana, winner takes all. So therefore, a party that is in power that got 50.4% has absolutely everything. There is no sharing, there is no, absolutely nothing. So with that one seat and that 0.4 percentage that jumped them over 50%, allowed them to have one extra seat in Parliament, and with that, they've changed every single thing imaginable. They've changed formulas for withdrawals on natural resource fund. They've changed the rules to vote for what persons can do to become eligible as a voter. Just one seat, 6,000 votes. But keeping it tight. So elections, ladies and gentlemen, are constitutionally due in Guyana no later than November the 3rd, 2025. It's a year from now. However, we do suspect, based on the mini budget that was read yesterday, with that giveaway, it may be sooner. So, and obviously, we've started our outreaches. That's why we're here. And so I'd like you to be comfortable and think that we have a year. We don't. So we should be there. As I said, the difference is 6,301. I'll address, so therefore obviously it is a very winnable formula. And obviously what the government is doing, PR-wise, that's why you would see them celebrating if you see a person walk across this over from the opposition to the government side. They'd be on all of their newspapers to give the perception that they are invincible, but they are not. We did it before and we can do it again. How we shall be approaching elections, I know it's another burning question. If we're going in a coalition or if we're going alone, there's two, obviously, sides to that coin. When we went alone, there was a hung parliament. When we went to coalition the last time, the time before we won. That, ladies and gentlemen, will be determined by you. That's why we are listening at Drunken's session, so that you can actually tell us what you think, what you feel, and what is the best format we should. Because obviously, myself and the team here, we don't know everything, and we don't profess to know everything. Why we think 2025 is important. On May the 8th, 2015, ExxonMobil as a lead partner discovered oil in Guyana. Black gold, as they would say. Traditionally, for you who don't know, we had our traditional natural resources, rice, gold, bauxite, whatever it is. Then we were push punching along, as Guyanese would say. And then these guys came and they discovered oil. First, it wasn't a big deal. You know, maybe we thought it was potluck. I mean, somebody, these guys. Then, all of a sudden, it turned out to be El Dorado. The rate of oil discoveries worldwide is 1 in every 5, 1 in every 10. 20%, 2 in every 10 wells that you dig, you will actually strike oil. Guyana ended up to be in a bonanza. 9 out of every 10 wells they drilled, they struck oil. We started producing oil in 2019, and right now we have 3. December 2017. 2019, sorry, yeah, there you go. Keep it tight here. And so right now we have 3 FPSOs. The oil was found offshore. And currently we have 3 FPSOs and they're with, FPSOs, floating production, storage. Basically it's a big oil tanker with a drill on it and pulls up the oil and stores it offshore. And then, so nothing happens on shore. So we have 3 of them currently operating. We have a 4th one on the way. And those 3 vessels are producing 663,000 60,000 barrels per day. For you Americans, that may not sound like a lot. But for us in Guyana, it is a lot. And by comparison, you would note that when we were kids, Trinidad was the Mecca, the richest country in the ATM of the Caribbean. And at their height, at their peak production, they never got past 380,000 barrels again. So we have already surpassed what Trinidad has done, and everybody will see how far ahead of us we are in Trinidad. We're estimated to have 18 billion barrels of oil reserve, and they're still thinking. May not say to Americans, I know everything is set in Texas and everything is big, but right, so that may not sound big to you, but if you start to look at other countries, Brazil, big Brazil, which is one of the G7 countries, they only have 16 billion barrels of oil reserve. So we've already passed Brazil in reserve, we've already passed Trinidad in production. We're anticipated by 2027 to double that. Because there's another FPSO on its way, another tank on its way, and one is being built currently in it. By 2027, we should have 5 of them operating offshore. Currently, with the 6,300,000 barrels the country produces from oil alone. We have other resources, $8 million a day. That is what the Guyana makes from oil alone. And our input as a country is 0. Right? So basically we're just like renting this oil out and collecting $8 million but a day. Yes, so a day, $8 million a day. By current oil prices, by 2027, it will be 16 to 20 million $. The most money ever in Guyana. And that's what we're trying to do. Ensure that, and this we've been getting this money for the last 2 years, 3 years, 2019. Unfortunately, most people know what happens to oil-producing countries if you don't plan. Unfortunately, it has happened to ours. I could give you examples. I think Nigeria probably give you better examples. But you know the countries, the banana republics, that have oil and a certain class of people only benefiting from the oil. So one of the things that we want to do is ensure, before we get any further, contest the election in 2025 and ensure that every Guyanese can benefit, home and abroad, can benefit from the bountiful resources that we have. But to do that, we need your help. Whatever you can do, everybody asks what can they do? Simple things. Contact your family, ensure that they stay in contact with them, ensure that they're engaged. Next time they ring you and ask you to send them some freck, you tell them no. You living in the fastest growing economy in the world, get up and get. And as I say, we are the fastest growing economy in the world. I wouldn't go into, I'll use that in question and answers, our plans for what we would like done with the project and so, keeping it tight. But we are, this is a very important election, ladies and gentlemen. We have challenges. Beverly didn't explain to you, she didn't want to scare you. But I would tell you some of the realities, and I'm not xenophobic, so don't say that, nor the party is xenophobic. And this is my last comment, I'll tell you. So what has happened that that our neighbor to the west has had some trouble, and it's all oil as well. And what has happened is a lot of the people that might come over to Guyana, economic migrants, we have no problem at all. We are a migrant people ourselves, meaning Guyanese everywhere in the around the globe, every country. You find groups of Guyanese, and we integrated and we kept to know. So whichever country we Guyanese has migrated to, we have to follow the rules, we have to follow the system. So therefore you come here, you have to get registered, and then you do the processes, and then you become a citizen, and then you're eligible to. In a quest to augment their numbers, what the current administration is doing is registering these economic migrants as eligible voters. So, we are battling to combat and find the 6,300. I think I've met them in the last 4 years, and I've spoken to them, and they've convinced me. Yeah, we made a mistake, we're back on board. So in a quest to boost their numbers, persons are being registered. The claim is that these persons were descendants, Guyanese descendants, and those things like that. Not all of them could be, but this is something that we have to guard against and fight against, and that is why we mentioned they needed biometrics and a new voters list. We are not against anybody, any Guyanese, rightfully, legally coming from wherever they are in the world, because we are here, you are here, and you will partake in the elections coming up rightfully, so to vote correctly. On a serious note, because no Asians are eating. But yeah, so we do. So it is a concern. It is a concern, as it is here and anywhere else. But with that, that's as tight as I can be. I'm willing to discuss so much more about what we have planned for the country. But keeping it tight, I don't want to use up the big guys. And just as a last note, that's a last note on Nigel. We went to school together. Of course, he's bigger.
Physically.
No. I want you to remember this here, so because you may look at me and think, I used to bully him. All the time. He come and tell you no, but I used to bully him all the time, So when he said he was going to run for leadership, I felt I was a duty bound after doing all these things to him to support him. Thank you very much.